Okay, so this next video is going to be all about knowing what chords you can play in each scale. So I want you to really dig into this because it's going to help you out a lot, okay? So we're going to start in the key of C. Okay, there's 8 notes total. That's an octave. We're good, okay? The number 1 is C, 2 is Z, 3 E, 4 F, 5 G, 6 A, 7 B, and then 8 or 1 is C again, right? So those numbers are come in extremely handy because of this. The 1 is always major. Notice how all these notes are in that same scale. You cannot play something that's not in the same scale, okay? For this one, just for this chord. Obviously, there's going to be some exceptions that I'll teach you about. But C can be always major. It's always going to be major. D will always be minor, and that's 2. So 2 is always minor. So 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, right? But this one is also called an accidental because it can be major, and it'll still sound good. And I'll explain that a little bit more. 4, always major. 5, always major. 6, always minor. 7 will always be a diminished chord, which I'll explain a little bit. And then we go back to 1, which is major again. Okay, so the reason E can be a major or minor chord, which is number 3, is because of the tension that it has. It has this kind of like quality to it that always feels at home no matter what you play. So if I play, let's say I play, let's say I play this. Did you see that? I went from 6 to a 3 to a 4. It resolves nicely, and that was a major, even though 3 is technically minor. But we could do the same thing with just a minor chord, but it doesn't have the same quality. Now it sounds more spooky and sad. And then F. You see? 3 is always going to sound good no matter what, okay? This is a rule of thumb because I want you to know what chords go where, okay? Yes, you're always going to have a chord chart in front of you and all that, but this is really good stuff to know because someday you're like, ah, man, I don't know what chord to play, but I know what scale it is. Now you know what chords you can and can't use. So again, 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor or major, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished, and back to 1, which is major, okay? Now let's get into the diminished chord. This one, the 7, okay? This is simple. Imagine a minor chord, which in this case would be B minor, but you take down the 5th 1 and you flat it. I'm sorry, yeah, you flat it. That's all it is. You're making that minor chord a little bit smaller, and that gives you this tension. This tension resolves really pretty. You see that? It's like, ah, ooh, simple. Like that can go anywhere. I use that a lot, no joke. You've probably heard me play this a lot anywhere. I like to do and here it goes. See that? Tension, tension, release, right? Really pretty. That's all a diminished chord is. Have fun with it, okay? So don't be scared by it. It's just basically a smaller minor chord. That's all it is. So with that being said, let's work on the extensions. 1 is always major and can have that major 7th. 2 is always minor, can have that minor 7th. 3 is always major, it's always minor and can have a minor 7th, or can be major and have that major 7th, dominant 7th, but only that dominant 7th. 4 is major and can have that major 7th. However, 5 is always going to be a dominant 7th. Okay, this is a major 7th, but that's not in the scale. So in the C scale, this is a G7, so dominant 7th, G dominant 7th. A is minor, which is a 6. 6 is minor and has that minor 7th. Then we get to diminished. See that? That is a diminished chord. So that's just a diminished 7th, which is a 7 as well. Simple stuff. And then back to 1. So these are the chords that you can use, okay? I really want you to learn this to the best of your ability, and you got this.